Yes, well, hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Her Journey, where the H.E.R stands for Healing, Evolving, and Redefining. And we are super excited. Tonight, we have another amazing sister, friend that has said yes to being on the podcast. And so I'm so grateful that she has agreed to do this. I've known her for I don't know, several years. I met her through a friend, Annette, doing a business, and then we don't always keep, conversate all the time, but we're Facebook friends, and we throw a little, hey, how you doing here and there. So we are still connected. So I just love what she's doing and helping other people. And we want women like her to come on and just talk about what they're doing, their passion, just in order to inspire and help other women to know, that you're not alone, you're loved, you're seen, you're heard. So we have with us this evening Tetra, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell us a little bit about what she does. I mentioned health industry, health and wellness, and how she got into that, and just feel free to flow however you like to tell us about yourself. So welcome, Tetra.
Thank you so much, Jackie and Cassandra. I count it as an honor and a privilege to be on the platform tonight. And I love your her. I love what that stands for. It just speaks all things to me. And you know exactly what I believe in as well. So just to give y'all a little bit of background about myself, as she stated, my name is Tedra Gore, and I'm really born and raised out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Recently, about 6 months ago, my family and I transitioned to Georgia, and this was definitely a God move. Okay, this was
Okay.
not something that we said, okay, we're going to do this. It was
Mm-hmm.
definitely inspired by God for us to make the move. And
Okay.
with that move, there comes transition. But,
Mm-hmm.
throughout my life, I've been working in the insurance industry for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you're working a job, it's not really your passion, right? It's
Yeah.
not your passion. It's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of what you do every day in and day out.
Yeah.
And through the industry of network marketing and me coming across some different people in that space, I learned from having my own wellness journey and along with my husband and I looking to get more healthier ourselves. Not that we weren't unhealthy, but we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
better our health. We stumbled into health and wellness. And from
Mm-hmm.
us getting into health and wellness, believe it or not, through me just speaking to people and sharing the products, it
Mm-hmm.
allowed me the opportunity through me just talking to people, conversating as we do as women, right? Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People started saying to me, wow, you really helped me. Oh, you helped me over here. And I'm just thinking, I'm just flowing as I do, speaking, talking, and
Yeah.
encouraging. And they said, have you ever thought about coaching? And I said, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So as that started to evolve just from getting involved in products and participating in our own rescue as a family,
Yeah.
I stumbled upon, hey, this really is my passion. I really do love this. I really do love helping people. And I always knew I loved to help people,
Yeah.
but this drives me to want to be able to see women be their best self. So I've
Yes.
been at that since 2015. And so
Mm-hmm.
now we're in 25, I'm in 2025. So it's been like the last 10 years or so. I've really
Yeah.
been in that space and I truly enjoy it. It's the one thing, when people say, what would you do? And you would do it even if you didn't get paid for it, this would
Yeah.
be it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And
right.
that's truly your, when you say that to me, that defines purpose. Doing
Yeah.
that thing, even if you didn't get paid for it. So can you just talk a little bit more about the health and wellness industry that you're in and what type of products you offer? And who is your client? Is there a targeted market or anyone can use these products? So you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Right. Well, definitely anybody can utilize our products. Anybody. They are down even to children. We have products that are safe enough for children. All of the products are holistic. They're all natural. So
Mm-hmm.
they can really speak to anybody. They speak to any ailment, whether you have an ailment or you just want to be more preventative like myself. I don't suffer with any type of disease, right? But I do want to take the proactive measures to make sure that I can add more life to my years, okay? So I
Mhm.
don't want people to think that, taking on health and wellness just means, supplements and you have to be sick and those type of things. You can be well and still need supplements just because, or want to
Hmm.
supplement what you're eating because our foods just don't give us everything that we need because
Yeah.
food today is different than food that our grandparents and, our older people older that became before us have
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
So my audience per se, which I have fell into my niche, is that I basically help women 40 and over transition their lives into a better version of themselves. And that really
Mhm.
just birthed out of me going through the process myself. And those are
Mhm.
the people that became my audience just by
Mhm.
nature. So I
Mhm.
feel like that's where I thrive. I'm relatable to them. They can understand me and I understand the space they're in. Being a
Mhm.
52-year-old woman myself, I have transitioned over the time. We can speak each other's language and we
Yeah.
understand each other.
Yeah. And I think that's beautiful that sometimes our purpose is, birthed through our own journey.
Yes,
You like seeking this for yourself and your husband, and then it just became a whole thing of its own. And so that's the beauty in it that
yes,
I often say sometimes our purpose is just wrapped up in things that we may be doing for ourselves or just things that God has placed in our heart or things that we've gone through and now we birth through that pain or through that trying to better that our purpose is birth. So
right.
so you not only are selling these products, but you are a product of the product. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yes.
So you're not just like putting these on the shelf saying, "Oh, this is nice and pretty." Like you actually was your first customer. You
Right.
know what I
I
mean?
was my own first customer, right? My
Yes.
husband
Yeah.
and I. And honestly, when I actually got into it, I really was looking to help myself.
Yeah.
However, because the product was so good, and
Yeah.
in just me being a person that conversates with a lot of people and
Mm-hmm.
connecting people to one another, because
Mm-hmm.
I really consider myself to be a connector or somebody that serves, it
Yeah.
just by default, by
Love
me
that.
sharing, it
Yeah.
just birthed itself. So I felt like it kind of just, as they say, fell in my lap, okay? And then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
Hmm.
embraced it because I learned that I loved it. And the more I studied it, it was like, oh, this is so good. And the
Yeah.
pieces to the puzzle just
Wow.
started coming together for me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I like to speak to people, not necessarily, okay, I'm pushing you this product. I'm really pushing you to really live their whole life, whether
Yeah.
it's physical, mental, and spiritual. Because I
Yeah.
believe until you can conceive it in your mind and you want to have a changed mindset,
Yeah.
nothing's going to happen to you from a physical or a spiritual standpoint. So it's really
Wow.
encompassing
That's true.
mind, body, and soul.
That is so true. And I often like to refer to, when people, have businesses and stuff like that. Like, I don't like, I don't like, we don't hear a lot of them people saying selling anymore because it's sharing, right? I'm
Yes,
sharing a story. And
serving.
just like you will serving and sharing, but just like you would go to a good restaurant and tell your girlfriend, girl, you need to go down here. They got some good food, or you just got a good sale. You know what I mean? You're sharing that and nobody's giving you a commission to go out to at Walmart or to the restaurant because you sent five people. So when
Right.
you have an experience with a product and that's good, you're just passing on information and letting people know this is good. It worked for me, check it out. So and so it doesn't make it seem, you know, I don't want to say the word scary, but it doesn't it's
Pushy.
welcoming because now
Right.
you're sharing information.
Yes.
Right. So
And that's
so
kind of
it's
like
good.
what people said to me. Like, honestly, if I think about it, Jackie, I didn't even really look at it as,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm pushing this product to you. We would just be having conversations, or they would see me
Mm-hmm.
talking about it, just me utilizing it in my own space. And they would say to me, hey, I saw you do this. Can you
Yeah.
tell me more about it? And then
Yeah.
they would say, well, you've really helped me. And I would just be thinking, hey, I'm just telling you what to do. And they were like, no, you really need to sit down
Yeah,
and talk to people about this and really
yeah,
see where
yeah,
they are. But you
yeah,
have to dissect and really get into a conversation like we're having to really
yeah.
help people open up. So first
Mm-hmm,
you want to find out what it is they want. So whenever I'm
mm-hmm,
talking, I always like to say, well, what is the one thing that you want to change about your health? Like,
yeah,
where are you? And then
yeah,
that will open up the door as
mm-hmm,
through me asking questions to be able to say, okay, have you thought about this? Are you struggling with this? Like, what is your
yeah,
greatest? And it kind of just breaks it down. And then I'm
mm-hmm,
able to like say, well, I was going through the same thing. And this is kind of
yeah,
what I did, and this may work for you as well. So when you're
Yeah.
relatable, I feel like it just opens up the door for people. They put down the barrier and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I like that because they know you're not just pushing the product, you're pushing,
Yeah.
hey, I want you to feel good from the
That,
inside out.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. So can you talk a little bit about what types of products that you offer or that you share with people so we can get an insight on what they are?
Yeah.
Sure, sure. So the products that we have, like I said, they speak to the whole person. We do everything from an all natural, like vitamin, all the way down to a product that someone may need for an illness. So you can go
Mhm.
anywhere from just basic wanting to improve your everyday health, like somebody like myself, or you could be somebody who's struggling with any of the diseases. It could be
Okay.
high blood pressure,
Mhm.
diabetes, inflammation,
Yeah.
bad gut health. So it's a plethora of products. And like
Okay.
I said, they are for men too, but my audience mostly is the women just because
Hmm.
that's what I'm attracted. And I kind of just started guiding myself in that way through the
Yeah.
people that were coming to me. So
Yeah.
that's kind of so we speak to everything. If you need more energy, if you're having trouble sleeping, and I don't necessarily always just say, hey, this is the product you can use because I want you to be able to maintain it. I really like to find out what people are eating, like what's keeping them up, what
Yeah.
stressors are they having, because
Yeah.
you can supplement, right? But if you don't create a better lifestyle, the
Yeah.
supplement is only going to take you so far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hmm
Yeah. So that's awesome because you are concerned about the total well-being of the person.
Right. The
Absolutely.
whole
So
person.
yeah,
Yes.
so that's that's good. So it's well-rounded too. So um so if someone wanted to get in contact with you about these products, to see what they are, have a question, how would they get in contact with you? Is there a
So
website? Like,
right. So to get in contact with me, I have all forms. Okay. You can find me on any social media platform. It's just my name. I don't have any kind of fancy anything. It's just Tedra Gordon, or Tedra underscore Gordon. You can find me on, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
yeah.
YouTube.
hmm
Also, I do have a website that has the products on the website, as
Mhm.
well as you can just call me. Like, really, I like to have conversations with people. I know we live in
Okay.
a world where people say, can I just text you? And I
Yeah.
tell them from the very beginning, when we first talk, I like to conversate. You know what I mean? I know a
Okay.
lot of people don't like to, but when
Mhm.
you talk to somebody, you can hear their
Yeah.
motion, you can feel the pain. You
Mhm.
find out more when you're talking to somebody versus just a
Mhm.
text, because I could tell when you go high, when you go low, when you kind of
Yeah.
pause. It's like,
hmm
Yeah.
okay, it's a little bit more to that. So you can kind of say, tell me
Yep.
a little bit more about that. Or
Yeah.
it sounds like you're struggling here. That sounds like something I've heard before. And then it
Mhm.
kind of opens them up and the barriers come down.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And you're very good about no, I connect with you on Facebook about, being very disciplined about your wellness. I've seen you working out. I've seen you like you got your drink, you ready to go. Like you're very good at making those videos to show people like I'm actively doing this for myself too and introducing the products that way. So that's good too. And I know you guys also have a coffee line.
Yeah, we have a coffee line as
Okay.
well. We do have a coffee line as well. And we actually have a new coffee that I was one
Mhm.
of the samplers of that's launching on Saturday. What I
Okay.
love about this coffee, it's not a Me Too product, so it can stand alone. And what I mean by that is if you're already consuming coffee anyway, which millions of people around the world are, it's only the second largest beverage because you need the water to make the coffee, but it has your protein, 10 grams of protein, collagen protein. It
Okay.
has berberine, and I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but that helps
Mm.
with things like PCOS, gut health. The main thing that it helps with is insulin and insulin resistance, as well as keeping our insulin levels where they need to be. It
Mhm.
also it serves as a microbiome to a certain aspect
Okay.
of it. And if you don't like coffee, the good thing is we also have those same benefits in a tropical flavor. So for the
Um,
non-coffee drinkers, it's also available in tropical. And it also is you burn 300 calories per dose. So you're getting your collagen, you're getting your protein, which is real big for us as women as we age. You're
Yeah.
also burning the calories, but then it also has like 19 amino acids, cordyceps, lion mane. So you're getting your medicinal mushrooms. It is going to be a great product. And guess what, ladies? When you look at the cost, it's about $1.83 a cup. We can't get
Okay.
any coffee, especially a coffee with benefits for less than $2. Y'all know people
Yeah.
spending like $5, $6 for a cup of coffee
Yes. Especially Starbucks. Yes. Yes.
with no benefits.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And so we need to invest in ourselves too. So
Yeah.
I'm actually not a coffee drinker, but the tropical
Oh, the
that,
tropical, they're
yeah.
both very good, very good. And
Mm-hmm.
they both serve as a meal replacement too. So
Okay.
we suggest that if you drink them like 15 to 20 minutes before a meal, and if you're a coffee drinker, you can have your coffee in the morning and you can do the pina colada in the afternoon. Or if you don't drink coffee, you can do that in the morning. But it definitely, I've been sampling it and I could tell like like my appetite was less. So I know
Okay.
that it actually works. Um,
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
taste is great. And I'm not a black coffee drinker, but it even
Hmm.
tastes good black.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I can tell that you're very well versed in your
Hmm.
products and you know them. It's just coming out natural, saying all these. So that's good, so you know what you've studied the products and you know what they are. And
Yes.
so that educational piece comes across when you are conversing about that. So that's
Oh,
good
thank you.
too.
But you know
Yeah.
what? It's mostly when you're a product of the product and you actually
Yeah.
utilize them,
Yeah.
you can tell. And what I tell people, because sometimes people will see me working and they're like, do I have to do all that? I'm like, nope, I got something easy for you. So as I'm transitioning, I've started to show people like, hey, you can just do this. You don't have
Yeah.
to go. Everybody's level is different. The
Different.
key
Yeah.
is you just want to make sure you're moving your body because what are we doing most of the time? Sitting.
Sitting. Hmm.
And we're made, our bodies are meant to move. And if you're home and you work from home, like I'm guilty of this sometimes, I sit too long. Like get
Hmm.
up, take a walk, give yourself
Yeah.
a break, stretch your arms, you
Yeah.
got to move around because then your circulation goes and it
Yeah.
just leads to other plethora of issues that we're just
Yeah.
sitting all day and whatever
Mhm.
we're eating is just sitting.
Yep, yep, just like us, it's sitting,
Yep.
it's sitting with us. Yeah, so it is important to move the body, and we are to honor our temples,
Yes,
right? So, to take care of ourselves. So, um,
absolutely.
yeah.
And
So
that's where
this
the
is what,
spiritual piece comes in for me.
yeah,
So when you think about it, the Bible says in 3rd John 1 and 2 that, beloved, that we should prosper and be in good health,
good health.
as
Yeah,
our soul also prospers. We want to talk about prospering, but listen, these temples, like you just said, Jackie, we're supposed to be honoring the
yeah,
Lord. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
hmm,
what good is it? I'm all spiritual, but I'm broken down. No, we got to
yeah,
take care of everything. We
yes.
want to have abundance spiritually and financially. We want to have abundance in every area of our life.
Every
And that's why I say
everyone.
transition health. And when I say health, I mean mind, body, and
And
soul.
so, yeah. And sometimes I often say too that there's, that's important, physical wholeness too, because, there may be something that God is giving you to do and you need to be physically fit too. You can have all the spirituality, all of that piece, but you need to be physically equipped to be able to, stand up for long periods of time, or whatever it is he has you. So you need to be physically equipped too, to do the job that he's calling you to do. So it all works together. So I love the total care. It's a
Yes.
total care package that you are implementing. So that's great. So anything else you want to say about your professional side before we kind of get into the questions?
Not really. I mean, you
Okay.
kind of hitting the nail on the head. It just becomes, like a conversation for me.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what I like. And I feel like, when people may not remember what you say, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. So I
yeah,
want people to feel comfortable. I want people to feel like this is not something that's going to happen overnight. I say,
yeah.
listen, as we take this journey, we're doing this together. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
don't want anybody to feel like, okay, I'm here and you're here. No, because I still have goals that I need to achieve too. So
Right.
Yes.
we're working together. Let's go on
Yeah.
this journey together.
Yeah.
And feel
Yeah.
free to call me, reach out to me. So I like my
Yes.
people to feel like they can be personable. Hey, they'll
Yeah.
say, I failed today. And I said, no, 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 you didn't fail. It just wasn't your
Hmm.
best day.
Yeah.
Where can we tweak at?
Yeah.
We use that word so loosely because we think we're
Yeah.
Yes.
measuring ourselves against somebody else. And
Yeah.
everybody is different, and we all have our own individual races to run. So, what
Yeah.
might take you this amount of time, it might take somebody longer, but that doesn't mean
Mhm.
you can't get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like to say we might be in different chapters, but we're all in the book.
Yes,
So we just in different chapters. And so we just encourage the person, like you said, I always say you never lose. You either win or you learn. Losing
exactly.
is
You
not
never
an
lose.
option. Win or learn. So that is so awesome. And you've been doing this work for a while since I've known you. And
Yes.
so God has just blessed you. So what if you can share what was kind of behind, I know you said the being in Georgia, it was a God ordained situation. So what kind of led you from Pennsylvania to Georgia, if that's something you can share?
Oh, sure. I don't mind sharing. So honestly, we have always been, my husband and I, saying we know we're purposed to do more. So
Okay.
sometimes what happened with us is we found our self stuck in the routine, the mundane of every day, just getting up. It became familiar.
Yeah.
And we started just asking God, what else is it that you have for us to do? And
Hmm.
believe it or not, it was like, listen, y'all need to leave, right? So we thought
Wow.
we were going, we kept saying, oh, maybe Florida, maybe North
Yeah.
Carolina. I lived in Georgia like before my daughter. My daughter is 26, so years
Yeah.
ago, like when I first got out of college. And I always said if I had the opportunity to come back, I would. So
Okay.
we know friends that live here and we kind of started visiting them and we was coming for business on different occasions. And when we went to go look at those other places, God was like, that is not it. That is not it.
Wow.
And that is not it. So then
Okay.
Georgia became the place and we just kept it quiet. We didn't really say too much to
Yeah.
our family at all because we didn't want the little
Yeah.
noises and things
Hmm.
like that. So
Hmm.
believe it or not, when we decided to come, our house sold like this, like in 13 days. It was
Wow.
quick and
Yep.
we just did what we needed to do. Some people still are
Yes.
like, we are y'all okay? Like they kind of mad at us. They not talking to us. And we're like, yeah, this is good. And we went home twice I went twice. My husband went once. And when we got there, I was like, oh, I said, I'm glad to see the family, but I said, I'm ready to go home. And when we was on
Wow.
the plane and we came back and we landed, I was like, I am glad to be home. Okay. So I miss them, but I
Yeah.
don't miss Pennsylvania. And I don't miss
Okay.
Philly. I feel like, it's a work for us to do. And we know
Yeah.
it is. All the pieces have not unfolded, but we know we had to get away from the familiar to come to the unfamiliar, to take not even just business, but our marriage, our lives to the next level.
Wow. And that's so that's so good that you were obedient. You know what I mean? Because someone would have
Listen, it
pondered over
wasn't
that.
easy, Jackie. I kept saying, really? Because we get stuck in the mundane and we're like, I got
Yeah.
this. But I felt like even
Are
though I
you
got
sure,
this, I
God?
felt like I was stuck, like I couldn't get to the next level. Like, you know
Yeah.
how you feel like you're just here and it was
Yeah.
no here. I felt like
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
even kill and nothing. I
Hmm.
need something to push me over.
Yeah.
And since I've been here, there's been so much growth in just 6 months. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what you wanted me to do. You wanted to grow
Yes.
me up, okay? I'm thinking
Yes.
it was going to be a different way, but the way some of it is unfolding is
That's
absolutely
good.
incredible.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. And because of your faithfulness and doing it, look, I mean, God just like, okay, you're obedient. Sometimes
yeah,
we don't always understand, but having that discipline and being obedient, He just opens up the way. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I'm glad that you guys listen and just kept moving and you kept it quiet because sometimes you have to do that because if you start sharing what God is sharing with you, somebody's going to come in, like you said, the noise, here comes the noise, and
yeah,
then it's going to take you off target or you'll get distracted. Well, maybe they had a good point. No, I clearly
Yeah.
heard God said we need to move. And we're going
Yes.
to trust that and we're going to do it and see what he does when you obey him. So
Right.
that is a beautiful testimony that you had the faith to just, you know what? I'm doing this. Like
Yes.
he got this. I can't, he hasn't shown me the full picture, but I trust that he has the
Mhm.
full picture. And so we're gonna take the leap of faith and we're gonna do it. And so you look happy, you
I
look
am happy.
content. So
And you know
and
what's
your
so
house
funny when
sold
you,
in 13 days. Like look at that. So you know this was God ordered, divinely ordered by him. Your house sold so quick.
yes. And you know
So
what?
that's
It was weird
beautiful.
because when you say you don't see the frame, like you see one part of it. So
Yeah,
God doesn't show you what's going to happen on the other
yeah,
side. He said
yeah,
go, but we don't know how it's going to play out. So
yeah,
you
Right.
really going into it blind because you're
yeah.
thinking, oh, this is going to be this, it's going to unfold like that. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily unfold the way you think it is.
Thank yeah.
But guess what? He still has you as you're going through the process, right?
Yep.
You have to
Yeah.
think back. And I even said to my husband one day, I said, wait a minute. He said, go. And he gave us instructions. So I said, let's pause and
Um,
listen to the specific instruction
Right.
that he gave us. What are we here for? Let's not forget our purpose, right? We said
mm-hmm.
we wanted to grow spiritually. We said we wanted to open up doors to be able to help people with our business. And we
Yeah.
asked God to take it to the next level in
Yeah.
every area of our life.
Yeah.
So when you ask for that, those pieces don't unfold the way you
Mm-hmm.
think they should unfold. Sometimes he
That's
flips
true.
roles and he have you doing
Yep.
something else and your husband doing something else and you
Yeah.
like, okay, Lord, all right, come on and help me out. And he just
Yeah.
let you know, I got you. I
Yeah.
got you. And
Yeah.
all the
I
messages
got
just
you.
was lining up to say, I got you. It's not
Yeah.
like what you expected, but I
Yeah.
got
But I
you.
got
And
you.
when you
Yeah.
think you like just at a breaking point, he show you, nope, I got you. Just hold on a
Yeah.
little bit longer. And here come another chip in your armor. And he like, I got you. So
Yeah.
it's just taught me to trust him. And I always say
Yeah.
you don't have faith until it's faith in the concrete. People could say they have faith, but until
Yeah.
you
I like
test it
that.
and you going through it, the
Yeah.
faith is not really there until you're
Mm-hmm.
actually in what you're going
Yeah.
through. That's when you
Yeah.
know you
Yeah.
have faith. So that
Mm-hmm.
now faith is real. It's moment
Yeah.
by moment.
Exactly. It's
Hmm.
just a theory until you put it into practice.
Yes.
So yeah, so you got, when you're talking, it's kind of remind me of like Abraham when God told him to, leave your kin folks.
Your
And
kinfolk.
I was reading that not so long ago, and I'm like, it didn't say that Abraham was like, Lord, why you asking me to leave? Like he left. It wasn't like he was just pondering, I'm gonna need a sign, I'm gonna need this. Like he had the courage to trust
Let's
God
do it.
and
Yeah.
to do it. And he became the father of many nations, but
Absolutely.
just trusting God. So that is huge that you guys took that leap of faith, and God will reward you for that. Oh,
And
he
sometimes
probably
I call it that. I say, oh, this was an Abraham move. People say, why?
yes.
And I said, it was an Abraham move. And they say
Yep.
Yeah.
no more.
Like that.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I thought about as you were talking. Well, I know you have an opportunity to look at all these questions. And so, as we get into, we don't ask them in any particular order. We just kind of ask the questions and feel free. So when I'm thinking about the questions, I think I will start by asking you, like, what is your definition of success?
Yeah.
So when I think about success, and I was like, oh, that's a great question. So when I think about success, or when most people think about success, they define success as financial. We think, oh,
Mhm.
I'm successful if my finances are in order. But I
Yeah.
look at success, success is whatever goal or purpose you want to achieve. So I'm going to use this example. Success for you could be this podcast. Success
Hmm.
Mhm.
for me could be helping women transition to their health.
Yeah.
Success for Cassandra should be something different. So
Yeah.
success is whatever goals, values that you have that'll take you to where you want to be. And you can
Mhm.
be successful in various areas of your life. So
Yes.
you
Mhm.
could be successful over here, but you still might have more growth. And
Yeah.
success is not one event, it's a
Yeah.
series of events.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
evolve and success comes in different forms. So you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Mhm.
most people say, "Oh, I was successful. I did this." No, because guess what? After you get here, then you want to do something else. So it's a
Hmm.
series of events, and
Yeah.
success comes at different levels and in different forms.
Yeah, that's such a great answer too. I always think of like success as like it's a plather of things.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
not one thing. And I often say too, it's a mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
continual growth, continual development. But yeah, we never stop. And like you said, one season of your life you could be successful in here, but then that goal changes and now you're looking at a different success. So it's a continual
Right.
process of moving forward,
Yeah.
Yes.
so that's awesome. So we often ask this question and we get different answers, and I think sometimes I think people overthink this question, but do you know what your purpose is, or you are still in pursuit of it? I feel like but I'm gonna ask the question this way. What your purpose is? Do you know what your purpose is?
So, you know what? That's an evolving question. And I
Yeah.
do feel like I now know what my purpose is. I
Okay.
really believe, and this is in my heart of hearts, that God wants to use me. And I'm going to say God because in this season, for
Hmm.
me, it's all about making sure I'm in alignment with what He wants me to do. And you and I talked about that a little bit.
Yes.
But my purpose really is to honestly help women transition themselves from where they are to where they want to be as I'm
Yeah.
transitioning through my process as well, because I
Yeah.
feel like we're always becoming, right? We're
Yes.
always becoming.
Absolutely.
So we
Absolutely.
might be at one point here, but guess
Yep.
what? We can always become more. So I feel
Hmm.
like my purpose is to help them transition to where they want to be. Health and wellness open the door, but I
Yeah.
know I have a calling from a spiritual aspect as well.
Yep.
And I
Hmm.
know that mentally, so that's why I say mind, body, and soul. So
Yeah.
it's the whole person to help them
Hmm.
transition from where they are to where they want to be. So we're always becoming.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer. And and that's important that women don't feel like there's current circumstances define them,
Yep.
that you are more
Yeah.
than your circumstances and that you have the ability to rise above that and
Yes.
become your
Yeah.
own champion. You know what
Yes.
I mean? So
Oh, I
as
like that.
yeah, and so as we begin to evolve and go through our healing process, you start, redefining how you live life and re-examining and changing your patterns of thinking. And so it's definitely that's a beautiful purpose, to have. And I
Thank
feel
you.
like you are an example of that
Right.
purpose. And so yeah, and so we need that, and I would say there's enough for everyone to go around. I feel
Absolutely.
like what God has given you,
Is
what
enough.
God's given me,
Yeah.
what God's given Cassandra, each of us have an audience that's waiting for what you have to say, Tetra, waiting for
Right.
what you have to say, Cassandra, waiting for what I have to say. So we
Mhm.
don't have to be
In
envious.
competition.
Right. There's enough to go around because I often say that you don't have to necessarily look for your audience, but your story will find your audience
Amen.
Exactly.
and
And
it
I
will
learned
fit
you
those
have to be
people.
willing to tell your story,
So
right?
Yeah.
And your
yes,
authentic story. So you
yes.
might not unfold it all at one time, but you
Yeah.
have to be willing to give up pieces to it
So
because
yeah,
if I don't
Mhm.
tell my authentic story, people can't connect with me. So even though
exactly.
I may be hurting, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I have to tell my truth so that
yes,
guess what? Another woman can know. Guess what? If she can do it, if she can do it, and she can,
yeah,
so can I. But if we wait till
yes.
we refined and we have it all, we never gonna have it all together till we
No,
leave here. So we have to be willing to share it so that
yeah,
somebody else can be free. If I
yeah.
don't say who I am and tell who I am, and I'm not saying you just tell all your business.
No,
That's
I
not
know what you're
Right.
saying. Yeah.
Right.
but you have to be willing to unfold in order
Mhm.
for others to receive.
Yes,
You have to be able to give
absolutely.
up something in order to get some, because that's where the connection comes in.
Yep.
And that's where people are able to get free. And sometimes,
Yes.
like even when we were on the phone the other day, you
Yep.
talking to me had me thinking about some other things I need to do. So I feel like in
Mhm.
the conversation, that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
when you're able to help each other and both
Yes.
people end up in a better place
Words.
through
Yeah.
through being able to share.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the power of I call it storytelling, but telling
Yes,
our stories and don't, and so people can become when you do that, people it's relatable. I can now relate to you because I'm like, okay, you know what? She went through some stuff, so okay, I'm not by myself, but we
absolutely.
want and when God brings us through something, it's for us to give a testimony, to share. Like, don't just keep all that goodness for yourself because somebody else needs to hear that testimony who might be going through something similar and be like you just talked about the God ordained move to Georgia. Somebody could be listening to this podcast and feel like
Yes,
God's
Lord.
pricking my heart to move. All right, this sister went ahead, her and her husband, they followed
Hmm.
through on that. So you know what I mean? So that could be somebody who could
Hmm.
listen, could be in that same situation and be
Give
like, you
them
know what?
hope.
I'm gonna get the courage. I'm gonna get the courage to pat myself up and move and watch what God does because
Yes.
it's his obedience. I would just say to anyone who's listening that make sure you're hearing the voice of God,
Right.
telling you to do this and that. Because if it's him, he's gonna do it with ease. Things are gonna fall into place, and
Yeah.
his hand is on it. So
And guess
that
what?
is
I'm
a
glad you brought that up because that's
yeah,
what we said. Like, even when we were preparing for, we said,
yeah,
listen, if it goes smooth, then we know it's God. And
mhm,
literally, like, everything was just, of course, there was little things happening along
yeah,
the way. They were small
sure,
things that you expect when you're moving from
right,
multiple
exactly,
states. But
yeah,
I'm saying it just unfolded so naturally, you know what
yep,
I mean? And when we thought, okay, one house would be the house here, God said, no, I got something else, but got something
yeah,
else for you. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it just all worked out, even when it comes down to like we just became members of a new church, new partners at
Okay,
the church. So even
yeah.
with that, God showed us that too through our friends. So it's been a
Nice.
wonderful thing,
Wow.
so
Yeah,
very excited for
God
that.
is just so
We
good.
know that we belong there, and what was so
Yeah.
beautiful
mm,
is my husband knew we belonged there before I even knew we belonged there. So it was
wow.
like, okay, he was like, this is it. And I kept saying, you sure? And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm like, I got to make sure. I don't want to be popping in and out and going.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, no, God showed us this is definitely it.
That's so awesome. That's so good. That's so good. I'm not sorry, Cassandra. You want to say something? I'm just like, I'm in
No,
the
I'm
room like me and
enjoying
Tetra
this.
by ourselves.
I am just enjoying it. It's amazing how God, he is so purposeful and he does it so intently. And if we are not paying attention, I like how you said that you were praying for it and
Hmm.
praying to be focused. So
Yeah.
that's the other part. We want God to just drop it in our lap, but we have to be willing to open up our minds to receive it. And
Yeah.
we have to be willing to say, okay, God, you show me. Don't let all this other stuff cloud my judgment and cloud my mind. I
Yeah.
want to be direct and I want to hear just you. But in that, you have to really pay attention to God
Yeah.
because there's so much other stuff that's going on. And if you just think, okay, well, he showed me this, you have to know who he is. And I
Hmm.
think in listening to you, you and your husband have prayed before. So it's not like it's the first time. So
Right.
and you know his voice and you know
Yeah.
his character. And that's the part that is really, really enlightening me. You knew his character. So when he directed you, you were like, okay, that's him.
Hmm.
Because he's
Even
done it
though
before.
it was scary, we knew that it was,
Yeah,
because I don't want anybody to think, oh, it was just so comfortable and they just
right.
literally no, it wasn't like that because when you're moving, thank God I have a job that I work from home.
Yeah,
But my husband had to leave his job. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like it
okay.
wasn't
Yeah.
already set up for him.
Yeah.
So this has been a transition. So
Yeah.
even when God tells you you have to trust that he's going to take care of you,
yes,
you know,
Yeah.
even though you plan for it, guess what?
Yeah.
It don't always happen. It don't always
Yeah. No,
unfold the way you
true.
think. So
Yeah.
you have to be willing to say, okay, Lord, you told me to do this. So if you brought me to it, you're going to bring me through
We
it.
through it.
that's
Yes.
right.
But we
That's right.
have to
Absolutely.
know that that's what he wants us to do.
Yeah,
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 absolutely, absolutely. That's
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Mm.
So, when I know when we talk about the podcast, we said our words are healing, evolving, and redefining. So when you think of those three words, what comes to your mind when you hear healing, evolving, and redefining?
So when I hear healing, evolving, and redefining, I feel like healing. is an ever continuing process, right?
Mhm.
So we can be healed in one area,
Yeah.
but we may not be healed in another area, or we could be
Yes.
healed to a certain point in
Yep.
the area, but we don't really know that the full healing has
Mhm.
taken place until if something comes up, we're
Mhm.
able to not allow that to impinge upon our character. Okay, I'm
Yep.
gonna give y'all an
Yep.
example. So if somebody has offended me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then they come back and they do something else. It doesn't turn me off to the point that I come out of Tedra because I'm healed in that area and I say, okay, nope, that's just Cassandra, that's just Jackie. It's okay. And it doesn't take me to a place I don't want to go. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's when you are healed, for example, when it
Mhm.
comes to somebody else. However, you may not be all the way there, and healing is a continual process, and
It
you
is.
only can truly be healed, I believe, through God helping you. It's not something you
Mhm.
can do in and of yourself.
Yes.
Physically, can you be healed? Yes. But I'm talking about on another level when it
Yeah.
comes to mind, body, and soul. That's not
Yeah.
something you can do alone. You
Yeah.
need God to help you
Mhm.
to overcome that. Now, you
Yeah.
say evolving. Like I
Yes.
said, becoming and evolving are really kind of one and the same to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're always
Yep.
evolving. We're
Yes.
never at completion. So
Yeah.
even though I may say, oh gosh, I conquered that, I still have more work that I can do to
Yeah.
even become better. So
Yeah.
evolving is a continual process. Like you
Yeah.
take a caterpillar to become a butterfly, right? It's
Yeah.
a process to become that. But even when that caterpillar becomes that butterfly, they still go through changes. The
Yeah.
wings change colors. They go from a smaller size to a bigger size. So we're always evolving and becoming a different person through the experiences that we go through in life, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I think of redefining, I feel like we're always redefining ourselves. So when you define, I may say like in this season, okay, this could be my season of being focused, right? But
Yep.
as things come and happen in my life, I may have to pivot and redefine it or bring it down to an
Yeah.
even precise place, right? I may
Mhm.
say, okay, I'm
Yes.
focused on building my coaching business, but then
Yeah.
God may show me, well, wait a minute, Tetra, I don't want you to have 20 clients like you said. I want you to rest in these 10 and perfect them to the next level before I give you another
Wow.
10, right? So
Yes.
he could
Yes.
be redefining as I'm in my
Mm-hmm.
purpose
Yeah.
along the way to help me make sure I'm staying on track to where he wants me to be. So I feel like all three of those words are intertwined, but
Mhm.
they're words that we're never settled in them. We're always
Yeah.
growing in them to
Yeah.
another level or
Yeah.
another purpose in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I don't even have anything to say about that. You said that so beautifully. There's
Yes.
nothing to add to that. That is, I love that response. Yes, absolutely. So, we all go through challenges in life. And so can you share a challenge that you may have gone through and what you did to overcome that challenge?
And you
Yeah.
know what the challenge I was going to use is this move. This has
Mm.
been
You
a
can still
challenge.
talk about.
Yes, and I have to
Yes.
be honest, like I could talk about something old that was a challenge, but
Yeah.
I feel like this
New.
has been a
Mhm.
challenge, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Normally, I'm the type of person, like even though I'm a believer and I trust God,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like to be in control, okay? If I be honest, like I
Yeah.
want things to be a certain way, I want to do it a certain way, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't happen that way, sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, this how this gonna be. But through this process, God is showing me, no, it's not gonna be your way. It's
Right.
gonna be
Yeah.
the way I want it to be. And
Yes.
and if you don't lean and listen to what I have to say, you
Hmm.
could go the wrong way. So
Yeah.
sometimes when I wanted to be like, oh, well, we need to do this, this, and this. I'm gonna use the word God would arrest me and be like, no, you're gonna pause and you're
Yeah.
gonna wait and to make sure this is what I want you to do in this process.
Yes.
So
Yes.
as we have gotten here, I've had to make like little shifts to say, okay, it's not time for that. And it's okay. But the good thing that I love, I know it's growth for me because when God is saying it's not time for that, I'm okay with him telling me it's not time for that. It would be a season where I would be like, well, I'm just gonna make this work out the way I want it to go. And I'm now like, no. he gave
Yeah.
me instruction. I have to pause and I have to wait and see what it is he wants me to do. So
Yeah.
that can be a challenge because we
Yeah.
think we're in control and we're not. So God is really telling me in this season, I have to trust you. It's not my
Yeah.
will,
Yes.
it's about him. And we say
Yeah.
that so freely, but this has really been a challenge for me because even though we trust, we still want to be in control. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like
No,
we want
Yes.
to trust,
absolutely.
but we still want to guide it the way we want it to go. And God
Yeah.
is saying, no, you're not
Hmm.
steering this ship this time, baby. You are totally going to be dependent on what I
Yes.
want you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And so this has that there
That's
is a
powerful.
now a complete surrender. That you
Yes.
have to completely surrender this over to God and align your will with his will. And
Yes.
so, that's part of just like, so you are now relinquishing control.
hmm
And
And
you
look,
are
and that's not
letting,
easy because y'all know we as ladies,
well,
we want to be
Want
the
to direct
boss all
everything.
the
yeah,
time. You know what I mean? Like,
1 + 1 must equal 2.
yeah, and we always did it like this. So
We
of
are the
course
Yeah,
leader of the
we have
ship.
to do it like that again. And God
Yep.
is saying, I didn't tell
Hmm.
you needed to do this like this.
yeah. So like he just has you in this new season, like
Yes.
you are fully surrendering, you are leaning in to his will and hearing. And there may be, so sometimes the challenge in that could be like you could have days when you be like, think I might have to get involved in this, God.
Yeah.
And
And
then
every time I
he
have wanted to
reminds
do,
you of that's not what we're doing, Tedra. So come on, go back.
Go back
I
to
think I
square
mentioned
one
this on the last podcast. There's this pillowcase that I want to get. I seen and it says let it go
and go to
and
sleep.
go to sleep. No, give it to God and go to
And go to
sleep.
sleep. Hmm.
And I was like, I'm getting that pillowcase because it's just a
oh, I need
reminder.
that.
Let it go. And what's it, Cassandra? I keep saying it wrong. Let it go. Go to
Give
how
it
was
to
it,
God and go
Cassandra?
to sleep.
Yeah, give it to God and go to
Go to
sleep.
sleep.
And so that's full surrender. It's like,
Yes.
okay, Lord, I'm in this place, and watch what He does when you as you completely surrender. Like eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard what He is about to do for you and your family, just in that obedience. And so, like I said, there may be days when you feel like I need to get involved, and He's like, did I tell you to get
Yep,
involved?
he shows me. I'm serious. Like, and sometimes it could
But
be
they
like,
need my opinion.
yeah, when and he like, I don't need your opinion, okay? You was
Yes.
steering that ship before, and that's why I say I knew he had to take us from the familiar to the unfamiliar
Yes.
because we were doing things just out of routine.
Yep.
Okay, we
Yes.
get up, we go to work, we do this, we do that, we go to the same church, we around the same people, and God is like,
Hmm.
I can't even stretch you and take you
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the next level
Yes.
because you're just doing the routine day in
Routine.
and day out.
Yes.
And I was like,
Yes.
this cannot be. I was like, I know there's more. I know there's more.
Yes.
And so even
Yes.
in going to the more, guess what? You have to really pause and say, okay, God, like as I came into 2025, I said to
Hmm.
the Lord, listen, we got to do this your way. If I
Yeah.
want my life to be blessed in these areas, I need to lend my ear to you. I
Yeah.
need to make sure I'm hearing from you. And it's not always easy,
Hmm.
but He puts the things in our place. We just don't
Yes.
pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So it's like now, like you said, He said, okay, no, sit down, daughter. Be quiet. You don't need
Yeah.
to speak on that. It's gonna
Yeah.
be all right. I got you.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, we be thinking,
Yeah.
okay, gotta be a certain way. It don't have to be a certain way.
No. Mm-mm. Well,
And it's
well.
more than one way to do things. And God's way is the best way.
Yes, yes, yes. So I mean the beauty in that you are learning to lean in to this process and really, really give it to God and just the testimony that's coming from this is going to be great. That now you're trusting Him on an even higher level. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Your faith, you're working, you're exercising that faith muscle, and that spiritual muscle and trusting God, and He's just gonna bring you all the way through, and you're gonna be
Yeah, I
like, no, this
believe
is
it.
an amazing testament to have to tell somebody like, listen, God said move, we move. There was challenges, but I leaned in. Some days I was trying not to lean in, but He reminded me of who He was, and so I leaned back in, and this is now the result.
Right.
So
And
just
that
really
blessing is
trusting him
not
in his,
always for you. That could be for
Yes.
someone else. You're
yeah.
living the testimony to show someone else, you
Mhm.
Oh,
know?
absolutely. I definitely believe that. I definitely
Yeah.
believe that because I have to do a prayer workshop in March
Okay.
that I was asked to be a part of. It's March 29th. And I said to myself, I said, oh, I don't know like what I'm going to tell. And I keep saying, Lord, whatever you have me to say, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I feel like all of this is never for us. We think it's
Yes.
for us, but it's really
Yes.
not for us. I
That's
know
Right.
the people that I'm to be connected to
Yeah.
are going to come from being here in this season.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so funny.
Absolutely.
A lot of things are happening back where we came from, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes, as the word say, a prophet is not accepted in its own
His
home.
Goodness.
own.
Sometimes you have
Yes.
to go
Yes,
away,
Hmm.
Lord.
come
Hmm.
back because people don't really see the value of you
Yeah.
until you're gone. So
Yeah.
sometimes you have to pull you away
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
grow you up so that
Yeah.
you can go back and serve, or they even see you in a different
Yes.
capacity. Like
Yeah.
that's not just
Exactly.
Tedra, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And
That's
so I feel
true.
like God is enlarging your territory. And so as he enlarges that, sometimes that you gotta, that means movement. You gotta move. You can't, like you said, you got stagnant in that routine.
Oh, I
And he
did.
says like, no, we're gonna have to stir this up. I'm gonna need you to do something different. So, so that is beautiful. So
Stir up that gift.
I'm gonna follow this conversation and see this process of what God is going to
Yes.
do, which is going to be something amazing.
Yes.
So when you hear the statement, "I am," how would you complete that statement?
Oh, that was a good one, Jackie. I said, ooh, I said she came with that. Okay. I said, whoa, okay. I think that was towards the bottom. So
Yeah.
I said to myself, I am, and I use the word evolving. I am
Hmm.
always evolving, okay?
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
always and I also said I am now learning myself because I feel
Okay.
like before I was here, and it started a little bit before we came here.
Mhm.
I would tend to do things to make sure I'm fitting into other people's mold. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Hmm.
Instead of knowing that I could know that I may need to do A, B, and C, but I'll be like, okay, well, let me just go ahead and do D, E, and F because it's
Yeah.
going to satisfy this person or it's going
Yeah.
to help them out. So
Yeah.
now I know that it's not about me fitting into somebody else's mold. It's okay for me to say, no, I'm not doing that because that's not my assignment. My assignment
Yes.
over here. So
Yeah.
I am now knowing that it's okay for me to live in my purpose and evolve
Yeah.
in the way that I'm supposed to be going versus
Hmm.
me trying to satisfy something somebody else wants me to do. Because when you do that, first of all, you have people assigned to you and what God wants you to do. And
Yeah.
now not only have you disrupted your life and what he had planned for you, but you're blocking the next person who's waiting on you to fulfill your assignment,
Absolutely.
Tedra, because
Hmm.
you aborted the process by going
Right.
over here. So
Yeah.
I am now knowing that I need to make sure I
Yeah.
stay focused on where it is he wants me to go versus me
Yes.
Yeah.
saying, you know
Yes.
what, I'm gonna go do that because that's comfortable. I'm gonna go help them and do it this way. When God said, no, you're not doing it this way. I need
Yeah.
you this way. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
now know it's okay for me to abort another process and follow the process, and that goes into like people pleasing, making sure you
Yeah.
other people want you to do versus
Yeah.
what you know you're supposed to be doing. And it's okay to say no if it doesn't align with the
With you.
goal and purpose
Yes.
that you need to be doing in that season. Now it might change,
Absolutely.
but right now, no, I want you over here. So you need to stay focused in where I have you, whether it's husband, mother, father,
Mm.
children, best friend, you
Yeah.
got to walk in what I need you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. And so oftentimes, that's something that I had to learn in the past too, because, someone would come and be like, oh, join this or do it. And I'm like, so it's not even that it's bad stuff. It's like, this
Nope.
is good,
Yeah.
but
Right.
that's not where I am right now. That's not
Right.
aligning with the mission that God has for me and the
God
call
has.
that he has on my life. So I can support you, but I can become in alliance with you on that.
Right.
So,
Right.
because I had to think like, okay, well, this is good. No, they didn't come up with bad stuff. They come with good. I should jump on it. The guy was like, no, that's not, because then I'm gonna get distracted. And then
Yep.
now I'm I'm
Hmm.
I'm you know I'm being like the children of Israel, like a 11, they took 40 years to get out the wilderness, right? And it was really an 11-day journey because now I decided to get on this
Yep.
path. And so I derailed my purpose by being over here. And God's like, I didn't tell you to be over here. I need you over
Yep.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so I had to really have a conversation. I was like, God, well, this is something good. Like it's like it's not about it being good. It's that where I'm aligning you with. And so, I've become more supportive and be like, no, you know what, this
Yep.
sounds amazing, but right now that's not something I could do.
Yeah.
And so,
Exactly. I had to learn
I
that
had to
as
learn
well, and
that.
that's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
because it wouldn't be something bad necessarily, because
Right.
I don't really know people that are engaged in bad things. It would be
Me
something
either.
good. But then
Yeah.
I'm over here doing their stuff. And then when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, I'm frustrated because now my things aren't done, but I never
Yep.
told you to
Hmm.
go over there.
Exactly.
You know,
Now
you
you.
you aborted the process on your own, baby. Okay, so come on back and stay over here.
Yep.
And I used to feel bad if I
Bad.
told
Yep.
people, but now I look at it as, hey, listen, I don't mind supporting you, and that
Yeah.
sounds good, but I really need to do what I need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And people
Absolutely.
should be okay with that if you
Yep.
have
Yes,
to
they
bow
should
out
be okay with
gracefully.
it. Should be.
Yeah, and if they're not okay with
It's
it, it's
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So yes, I know that you had a chance to look at our I don't know if you had a chance, but the logo of our podcast is a grown woman looking at her younger self. And on the younger girl is a heart and has a keyhole in it, and the grown woman is actually holding the key to the heart to unlock the little
Hmm.
Hmm.
girl. So we
I
talk a
think
lot
that's a
about.
wonderful logo. Beautiful.
Thank you. So the meaning behind it is that that little girl, that inner girl, sometimes is still waiting, to be healed. And right. And if we don't heal her issues when it shows up in our grown woman, right? So when we heal the little girl, the grown woman rises.
Yeah.
And so looking back, like what would you today say, your grown woman today say to
Hmm.
that little girl or to your little girl?
And I thought that was a profound statement. Let me say that because
Thank
sometimes
you.
we forget or we don't think about those things. But
Mhm.
if I had my grown woman Tedra say to little Tedra, like
Yeah.
looking back, reflecting back, I would basically be saying, you know what? We always were, I was told a lot of times, the sky is the limit. No, the sky is not the limit. It's limitless. You can be,
Yeah.
do, and have anything you want because
Yeah.
everything you need is already inside of you. This
Hmm.
just
Yes.
potential just not has not been tapped into it. So don't let
Yes,
anybody
yes.
tell you you can't be something. Like sometimes we'll
Right.
hear children say, "Oh, I want to do this," and a parent will say, "That sounds ridiculous. Why would you
Yeah.
want to do that? What's wrong with that?"
Right.
What's wrong with being able to say you want to be this or you want to be that? Because guess what? It may change. But
Yeah.
know that as a child, it's okay to dream and to
Yes.
it's okay to say what you want, and it's okay to think that it can happen. And
Mm-hmm.
don't be stifled by other people's opinions and what somebody else
Yeah.
may be
Yes.
doing. Know
Yes.
that you are complete in yourself. So I'll use
Yeah.
this as an example. My goddaughter, she's 13 now. And almost every day, we try to make sure we talk to her and we do affirmations. And I tell
Nice.
her that she is all of these things. And then I made her come up with her own set of words that she says to herself. And I tell her, look in the mirror and say them to yourself and make sure
Yeah.
you're looking at yourself when you say
Yes.
them. And
Yeah.
then
Yes.
when I talk to her, because she's still in Philly, of course, I say, did you say your affirmation? And we go over them together. So we
Yeah.
Nice.
make sure we're, at a younger version, affirming ourselves so that
Yes.
Yeah.
when we do grow up as
Yeah.
women, we remember who we are. Most of the
Yes.
time
It's
we
so
weren't
important.
given that. And not that our
Right.
parents didn't want to do it. They didn't really
Yeah.
know how to do it.
How
They
to?
only taught
Yeah.
us what they knew,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So we have to not just say, okay, I'm going to fall in because my mom did it that way. I'm going to do it this way. How can we do it better? So
Better.
I would
Yeah.
say, listen, I want to make sure, I do those things earlier and even better than when I did them with my daughter, my
Mhm.
26-year-old, because I
Yeah.
feel like we should always be looking to see what we can do differently.
Hmm.
Yeah. No,
That's
that's
good.
beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's so nice, beautiful that you're teaching her that at a younger age so that,
Yeah. Yeah.
some of it may avoid some of the things that, we go through as older women because she's learning who she is and
Yep.
affirming herself at that young age so that we don't have to, so that she don't have to get some of the lessons that we had to get the hard way.
We had to
Right,
learn the hard
right,
So
way. Hmm.
we can start that young.
Hmm.
Like I think that that's so powerful. That empowers them at
It
that
is.
young age. So somebody, the first boy that comes and say, "Oh, you're beautiful," like, all right, I know. Look, I'm like, what
yep,
else you got? Like, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
because
yes,
she's affirming in who she is, so she won't be easily talked off the ledge because she's already know that she's beautiful and she's smart and all of the necessary things. So I think it's important that we teach
right.
that at a young age. You know what I
And that's
mean?
Right.
not
So
Right.
sorry, that's not cockiness. That's teaching them to be
no,
No.
it's
confident in
confidence. Yeah.
themselves, because so many times we as grown women, the reason, we fall into those things a lot of time because we don't understand who we are. We feel like we're
Yes.
fine by what everybody else. So if you're in school and somebody says, "Oh, you fat, you ugly, you this or
Yeah.
you that," no,
Exactly.
you remember you looked at yourself and you are smart, you are intelligent, you
Yeah.
are important, you matter, you are fearfully and
Yeah.
wonderfully made. Like,
Yes.
what do you see when you see you? Not this broken down,
Yeah.
busted person. No,
Yeah.
you might not always feel good, but you
Yeah.
should be able to affirm yourself. And I wish not that my mom did anything wrong. I'm not
No,
saying
I
that.
know.
To
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
had those things said or done just
Mhm.
makes
Yeah.
a difference. So I think
Yeah.
if we start those things earlier,
Right.
we can gain the confidence, especially in our children. Y'all know what
Yes.
I'm saying.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
got to
No,
make sure we
absolutely.
get them where they need to be.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right. Right.
absolutely. That's beautiful. Yeah. So if you were to, what impact would you like to leave on the planet or be known for? What fingerprint would you like to be known for on the planet?
And that's a loaded question for me, right? But if I had to sum it up, I honestly want to be known for being able to make an impact in people's life. And that
Nice.
doesn't mean like an impact necessarily in
Mhm.
one specific area, but when
Yeah.
somebody, like if somebody, you always say like it's the day you were born and the day you die, but what did you do in the
In
middle? Like
between
what did
that
she do?
dash.
I
Mhm.
want to be known for somebody that somebody could go to and say, you know what? Yes, she served me. Yes,
Yeah.
she impacted me. She was the reason why I kept pushing forward. That
Yeah.
she was the reason I smiled today. When I
Yeah.
thought of Tedra, I always thought of somebody who said, you know what, girl, you can do that.
Yeah.
Even if I
Yeah.
may not be confident in myself in all the areas, I'd be like, girl, you got that. You can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because that's what people say. Oh, you always encourage me. So I want to be known as that one that give people that hope to know. Guess what?
Hmm.
It's okay. You can do it. No matter
Yeah.
what, it's
Yeah. No,
possible.
no, no.
Because many
Yeah.
times we think it's not possible. And it is possible because honestly, we have everything we need already inside of us. We just have to pull it out of us.
Yes,
We just have
absolutely.
to develop it. It's there. The
Yep.
potential is there. It
Already
just needs to
there.
be birthed.
Well, yep,
But it
absolutely.
can only be birthed when we get in tune with ourselves and by us putting ourselves around the right people and in the
Yeah.
right environments. And
Hmm.
how do we do that? We have to be ever looking for that. So if I can just connect and point and serve and help people and impact them, that's what I want to be known for. Like,
Okay.
hey, she helped me along the way.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good fingerprint to leave on the earth. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so, if I ask you, love is what would you tell me? If love is what?
Love is definitely, I like the word selflessness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love is selflessness. Love is
Mhm.
making a commitment and a connection with
Yeah.
somebody else. So it's really for me, um, a deep emotion that you have towards somebody, but
Hmm.
not to where your feelings necessarily are involved. You know what I mean? Like you're
Okay.
able to overlook those feelings, because guess what? I might not necessarily feel like you today, but I still have a deep emotion attached to you. And it comes with sacrifice. It comes
Yeah.
with commitment. It
Yeah.
comes with understanding. And when I think of it being selflessness, I look at it as that doesn't mean I neglect Tedra, but I show up for that person as much as
Yes.
I show up for myself. I
Yeah.
love me in the midst of loving somebody else. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to love you to my own detriment. I'm going
Right.
to love you and I'm going to make sacrifices for you and I'm going to seek to understand you and be committed to you, but not that it hurts me. I'm still
Yeah.
going to make sure I love me in doing all of that. So it's
Yeah.
loving the person, but it's also making sure you love yourself as well. Because sometimes
Yeah.
we as women will be loving somebody so much so that we loving them, but inside we crumbling. No, I still need to show up for myself and not
Yeah.
neglect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That kind of reminds me of that whole put the mask on yourself first before you put on others on the airplane. You know, how they tell you that and you get
Yeah.
on. So, yeah, so you have to have that self-love for yourself because if you don't, then it's going to become depleted. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, you got to love you first before you can love anybody else. So, yeah. And
Absolutely.
love is a choice because there are days when you feel like, okay, I like you, but I don't know today. But
Right.
you make a choice to push through and show up because look at what I was compared to. Look at God. Like I know some days he'd be like, "Girl, you are not lovable today," but he has an
Absolutely.
unfailing love, and he loves us in
In
spite
spite
of
of.
despite in spite of who we are. So we have to extend that same grace to others too. So that is definitely good. I'm thinking I don't have my papers, so I'm just doing these questions like from the top of my head. But I think our last question is this the title this season of your life, if you were to give it a title, what would you give it? What would you title? Why would you name it this season of your life right now that you're going through?
Intentionality. Being
Nice.
intentional. I would name this season being intentional.
Okay.
Because a lot of times when I assess, like I often will assess, even at the end of a day, like maybe what I did not so good, what I did well, but
Yeah.
definitely at the end of the year, when I look back at my vision board that I created, a lot of
Mhm.
things did unfold and they came to pass, right?
Mhm.
But they didn't necessarily come to pass the way I wanted them to, like the
Okay.
way I felt like to the magnitude that I wanted them to come to pass. And
Okay.
some things I didn't hit the mark. So as I came into 2000, before I came into 2025, I went to a prayer board vision experience, but we sealed our vision board in prayer. And we had
Nice.
different envelopes that we put for different areas of our life. So
I
as
love
I
that.
came into 2025, I said, this has to be a season of being intentional, which helped me to bring up the fact that I can no longer fit into other people's mold, right?
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I'm doing what God wants me to do it His way. So I need to be
Yeah.
making sure I'm hearing what He's saying in the instruction that
Yes.
He's given to me, even though that looks good. It might be one way of doing it.
Yeah.
No, I want you to do it this way. And this is
Yes.
why I want you to do it this way. So
Yeah.
for me, this is a season of being totally intentional so that I make sure I can fulfill what I'm supposed to be doing, what God has for me to do. So that's
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, are you really supposed to be over here? Okay, that look good, but no, Tedra, you have to complete this. Like, what do
Yeah.
I want you to do?
Yeah.
How do I want you to complete the assignment? And he's been showing me bits and pieces, like
That's
I
awesome.
prayed honestly, for to be on a podcast in 2025, and then you
Yeah.
called me like a week and a half later. That's on my board, right?
Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
I asked him to give me speaking engagements and they're
Yeah.
unfolding. So
Yeah.
God is really, if you're going to ask for it, I figured ask big. Don't ask for small things. He said you have not because you ask not.
That's
So
not,
if I'm
yes.
going to be intentional in my asking, I have to be ready to accept the call, even if it feels uncomfortable. So it's a season of
Yes.
intentionality for me.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that.
And it's
Well, you should.
uncomfortable, but it's intentional.
Intentionality. I love that word. I love that word. And you definitely showed up here authentically yourself and very intentional. And so I definitely appreciate you saying yes to this. And, just God just has so much goodness, good things for you in store for you. And I can't wait to hear about them and what he's going to do in 2025. I just feel like 2025 is just a victorious year.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, we're going from good to great, you know, and it all starts with that surrender to him. So as
Yes,
we surrender, all that complete surrender to him, and watch what he does
right.
when we do that, you know, and
Yes.
so and just becoming disciplined and becoming intentional, like you said,
Oh, I
in our
love
walk
that.
with him. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And so this is a
Intentional.
year of surrender for myself.
Ain't
I'm
that
like,
something?
I'm surrendering everything, you know, there you go. Like, so, because I don't want to miss my season. I don't want to
That's
be
how. Ooh,
distracted. I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's just, it's this thing that's inside. I'm just so excited. There's an excitement in me this year. It's just like, I can't miss it. I gotta stay on target, you know, watch and pray. You know, I gotta lean in, I gotta stay
Yeah.
plugged into the source. Because he has I've been this I did this course with this a coach. And so we did this Give God 30. It was the 30-day challenge. And so she was amazing, but she really talked about that not everything that you go through. She said there is a strategy, there are instructions, and there's a promise in the word of God. So whatever you go through, find the strategy, find the instruction, find the promise, and just
mm,
stand on that. But it takes our complete surrender to really, really you know, do that. So if we give God that surrender, and she said our job is to submit and obey.
Yeah.
that's
Submit and
good.
obey.
Ooh, that's
And
good.
so, yeah, so I'm just like, I'm locked in. So I definitely thank you for being here this evening. And this has been such a wonderful conversation. See, I told you it'd be
Yes.
easy. It felt like we
I
just
thank
talking
you
on
for
the
your
phone.
obedience because guess what? If you weren't obedient, I wouldn't have the opportunity. And I love what you just said, leaning in. Like that is so, like when we get on, I'm gonna write that down because you said that to me and
Yeah,
you've been saying that. And that's true.
yep.
We gotta lean in.
And
You
yeah,
know, a lot of times we talk to God, but we need to be having a conversation with
conversation.
Him. And
Yeah.
after we talk to Him, we gotta lean in. So
Listen
I
to
like
him.
that word that we can
Yes.
hear what he's
Yes.
saying to
Yeah.
us and we'll miss it if we don't.
Yep.
That's why I said it's intentionality for me because
Yeah.
the moment you get a distraction or you lean away he doesn't want you to, you miss it because it
Yes.
happens. And I've missed it so many times. I feel like
Yeah,
God
me
has
too.
given me opportunities and I
Hmm.
missed them because I wasn't intentional. And
Yep.
this has to be the season where you know what? Enough is enough.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
you do what I tell you to do, it's going to
Every,
unfold. And that's
ooh,
the
girl.
That's
only way we go.
powerful.
See, we make
That's
plans
powerful.
without him.
Yes.
Go for
Come on.
purpose without him.
Yep.
We want to be in pursuit without him. We have to
Yes.
be in purpose and pursuit with
With
him.
them. Yep.
And
Yep.
until we do it with him, guess
Yep.
what? Nothing's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Right.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And I love to say, like, prayer is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. So
Yes.
you have
Yeah.
that, and then you lean in to hear what he's saying. He'll speak. I mean, I've been waking up like 4:30. You know, at point I'll keep a little notebook by my desk. And one of my favorite, I call it my prayer time, my war room, is when I'm in my car. Woo, we be
Yeah.
having some good times in that car because I'll be riding and I just be praying. And it's just like that has become, I call it my war room, and
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and it's good. It sets the atmosphere for today. So this year I am leaning in because I can't miss it because you know, I know I've missed it before, like you said, because instead of leaning in, I'm over here trying to do good for somebody else because they said this was good, right? Or
Yeah.
trying to do good. And so then I missed the opportunity. So I'm like, no, no, just I gotta lean in. I'm sorry, I'm
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
way. I'm not over here. I'm not to the left. I gotta lean in so that
Intention.
I can get the
Yeah.
instructions, the
Yeah.
strategy, the instruction, and the promises that I'm standing on because there's a lot depending on this for me
Yes.
because I've surrendered my family, my
Mhm.
situation, my finance, my health, my wellness, like my mental clarity. Like I said, God, I even surrender my love life. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I desire to, to have a husband and to be married again. So I said, God, I'm inviting you into this dating process. Like
Yeah.
I'm leaning into you. Like he hasn't even released me to, go looking
Yes.
because I'm not supposed to look, but be found. Let me rephrase that, to be
Right.
found. But when he does, I'm like, and when I begin to entertain someone, I'm like, I'm taking them to God. Like, show me their heart.
Yeah.
This is not right. I told God, I make a sense of life. I said, this is gonna be like speed dating because I'm gonna be like, you know what? Nice talking to you. But I can't because that person also has to align with the purpose, and you have to have a relationship with God. It's not like, oh yeah, I know God. No, do you have a relationship with Him?
Time out for
You know what I
making
mean?
excuses for
The
them
head
when
of
they
your
don't.
life. You know what I mean? So, because I want to be in alignment
You want to
with
be in
my purpose,
alignment.
with my purpose partner, so
Mm-hmm.
that they will be like, okay. So I don't want somebody to come in and see what I'm doing. Like, oh wow, wow, you can't do that. My purpose partner will understand what I'm doing, and we will be in agreement together and
And
walk it
support you
out.
100%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And even
absolutely.
set it up for you to be able to do what you do. And
Yep.
like I always say, like people, I always say, and I'm so grateful. And this has not always been easy, and it's not always easy, but I always say I'm so grateful for my husband because he will set things up for me so
Yes.
that
Yeah,
I
that's
can do what
awesome.
I need to do. Like the
Yeah.
little things, like people think, oh, that's not important. But
No,
hey,
it
if I
It
don't
is.
have
is.
to do this, but I can do this, that's
Yeah.
letting me know you support what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know,
He's supposed
if
to
Absolutely.
be
if
your
you say,
covering,
I'm gonna
right?
get
He's
these
your
lights
covering.
together for you so you can be ready for your podcast, or I'm
Right.
gonna do this for
Yes,
you. And guess
exactly.
what? That's helping me out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
People
Yep.
miss it. So support comes in different ways, and
Yes,
you
it
want
does.
Absolutely.
somebody who's not gonna be like, you doing that again? You gotta
Yes.
get on that call, you
Yep.
helping somebody else, or when
Yep.
we
Yes.
But he's your covering. Isn't that what
yes,
Yes,
he's supposed to do?
absolutely.
yep,
That's
Yes.
what a
So,
husband is supposed to
yeah.
do.
So
Right?
I'm believing God for some big things this year. So
Yes.
I've got to lean in because I
Yes.
will not miss my opportunity.
yeah,
So,
because you've been at this for a long time too, Jackie. And it's
yep.
like when I talk to you, all I could hear is you wanting to walk in your purpose. Like that's
Yes.
Yeah.
our whole conversation was like,
Yep.
listen, I have to make sure I do this right in this season.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's where I am. It's that season, intentionality.
Yeah, intentionality, because I know that also going to move me into that coaching arena too. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to show up authentically, and I want to be an example so that when I'm talking to my clients, I'm not asking them to do something that
I
I
haven't
haven't
done.
even done for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
so this is important that because there's so many coaches out there. I went through the certification, but I'm not, I don't hear God, I'm not quick to put up the sign, I'm a coach, because God's still doing some stuff. He said, I need to unpack some stuff with you. And
Right.
so we're going to go through that process. And then so because I want you to be impactful, because it's
Right.
just not me. I want to be a spirit led coach, spirit filled and
Right.
spirit led coach. So I'm not just bringing that clinical side, I'm bringing that spiritual side, and not just the natural side, the spiritual side, so I
That's
can
right.
bring people gently back to Christ and let them know that God has a
Absolutely.
plan for you, and He wants you to
Hmm.
prosper. He wants you to be in good health, and
Yes,
He
he
has a
does.
hope and a
Yes, he
future for
does.
you, and it's in the Word of God. And so
Absolutely. And that's how
that's
I
what,
feel because I always knew, like, if I take it back to even when I was younger, like in
yep,
my early adult life, God told me a long time ago, that I would be making an impact in women's lives, but
mm-hmm,
it
Yes.
wasn't
Yes.
time for it to
yep,
be birthed in that season. So
yeah,
I say this
Yes.
has been like a 20-year process because he said
mm-hmm,
it to
me
me like
too,
way back before, I
yep,
had my
Exactly.
daughter, like, and she's
yep,
26. So when
yep,
I was in Georgia, God showed me some things, and He kept showing
yep,
me, you have to give
Mm-hmm.
the teaching, and you have to
yep,
different things,
yep,
but it had to come full circle. And I
yes,
was that person. That's why I said it's okay to tell the story because I was that person that I wanted you to unpack this, but I didn't want you to do this. And I
yep,
wanted, it's okay to give this, but don't give that. But God said,
yep,
if you're going to be used for me, you're going to be willing to unpack what I give you. If He say
yep,
speak it in that moment, you got to
yep,
be willing to speak it. You got to be
yeah,
willing to share it. You can't say, oh, I'm gonna help people, but I'm gonna hold on to this. And oh,
yeah,
because if He told
mm-hmm,
you to say it, you got to be willing to release
Yeah.
it. You know what I
yes,
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely,
even though with me writing down these questions, yeah, I had the answer I wrote out,
but that's
Yep.
not everything that came out. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
But I mean, when you go to speak, I
I
will
will
give you
speak.
what to say. Just make
Yep.
yourself
Yeah.
Yep.
available to me,
Yeah.
you know. So
Absolutely.
it's going to come out the way he wants it to come out. And that's where the
Yep.
authenticity comes at. You know, we can
Yes.
have that canned answer, but that canned answer, people can see right through that.
Do
They'll
it.
know, oh,
Yep.
yeah, girl, you was being phony.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. She
No,
gave me
that's
want
true.
to be here, you know. And we
That's
want to
so
be
true.
in because I'm like you, I've been in coaching classes where they talking on the surface and they
Yep.
talking up here. I want to be able to connect with my person. I don't want to
Yes.
feel like I'm here and
Yep.
they
And they're
Right.
down. Yep.
Right.
can't relate to each other because then how do you form that connection? And if
Right.
Yeah.
you don't have no connection, if you're going to get paid for what you do, you can't even collect because they haven't even connected for you to you to be able to collect. So how you
Yep.
bring your ticket item here and
Yeah.
want them to purchase when you haven't given them a little value to say, okay, here you go.
Yep.
Here you are.
That's
Whether it's
true.
an offering, whether it's actually a pay or whatever, because
Yeah.
God ain't gonna have us doing all of this and He's not gonna take care of us,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
of course you want to, but
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta serve your way before He gives you
Right.
that.
Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
steps to it, but most of the time we're not willing to serve to get
Yeah.
to the place where now we can say, okay, this is my fee. Or
Yep.
people see the work, you gotta
Exactly.
give up something and get something.
Yep. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with getting paid and love what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right.
And so
Right.
it's okay. So we have to take that stigma around. Oh, I don't want to charge. People pay for what they see value in.
Right.
And guess
So,
what? They'll pay for whatever they find value in, whether
yep.
it's their hair, if you think it, whether it's that bag, those shoes. Guess what? And
Yeah.
I had you listen to Mr. Royce or Marcus
Yes, he
Royce,
was so good.
and
Yeah.
you could share that with Cassandra too.
Yeah.
But just as he said, it's not that people can't pay for it or don't want to pay for it. They'll pay for it if they see the value.
Value in
So
it. I believe that.
that Susie might not be your client,
Yep.
but Betty is.
Yep.
So we got to start saying, oh, well, just give me what you want. No, 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 that's not your worth. God said that we can have life and have it more abundantly.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we don't apply
Absolutely.
Yeah.
those things to every area of our life. It's for every area of our life.
Yeah.
Every area, yes, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
again, this has been amazing,
Yes,
and
it has.
I love that you said yes, and it was easy, right?
It
Easy
was amazing.
conversation.
I love that you were obedient. So, like, how does this work? Because of course I want to hear it back. And my mom was like, I want to hear y'all conversation. I was like, I don't know how this unpacks. I said yes just to share.
Yeah, so what we do is we feature two women a month and we let it run for 14 days. So every 2 weeks we switch out. So right now we've been doing a lot of recording. So we did someone yesterday, we had someone before you, then you, and then we did someone Saturday. So each person will get 2 weeks.
Okay.
So right now the rate is going, this probably won't come out until I'm gonna say maybe sometime in March, because like you're our fourth person that we have
Okay.
done this with this. But what happens, I will send you the link and I'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
Tedra, this is about to go
We'll
live. I
definitely
send you
let
the
you know.
link and you
Okay.
know that it's going live, and then you can open it up, share it, and then share the link with people, and they can hear it. So you'll get notified from me when it's about to go live.
Okay. And also
Mhm.
send me the link for some of the other people because I like listening to, so let me know like how I can listen to others as well
Okay,
because I want to
okay,
Oh,
be
that's
able
yeah.
fine.
to,
Yeah. So
because
what I'll do is I'll send you the link to one of the podcasts, and when you open up, if you hit the subscribe button, whenever we have a new episode, you'll get a notification on your phone. Oh, Her Journey, new episode. So that way you could be always up to date
I
when
think
something
you'll
new comes
enjoy
up.
it. We've had so many. And we have such um, a wide array of people. We've had people that have had cancer. We've had people that took care of their parents. We've had people that a police officer, someone that's a beautician, so they
Lawyers.
have their
Yeah.
own business. So we
oh,
have a
that's good.
wide
That's why I
array
want to
of
hear it. Yeah.
different type of
Yeah. Yeah.
people and things. And then
Yeah.
to see and hear their responses to the questions, and like yours, I wrote it down, being intentional. And so you get to
Yeah.
hear all these different things and how it resonates with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think you'll enjoy it. It's
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that's why I said it. I want to definitely hear. I
yeah,
think I
Yeah.
had heard one of yours like early on last
You when
year.
I first started,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
And so God has blessed us. This is January was 1 year. We celebrated our 1 year
yeah,
anniversary of doing this. So we're gonna keep moving forward and keep doing what He tells
And
us
that's
to do.
awesome. You have Cassandra too, like this, because
Yep.
it's hard to find people that are willing even to sit in with you and
Mm-hmm.
support you. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yep.
sisters
Yep.
can be a little rough sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
they ain't always supporting you when you doing things, and there you
Yeah.
go with making sure you in the right circles.
yeah.
Yep.
And Jackie and
Exactly.
I have our own testimony. So the very
Yeah.
first episode, you'll hear the things that she's been through and I've been through. Like we are here to uplift women. We
Mm-hmm.
have our journeys and how
Yep.
Hmm.
we ourselves are healing, evolving, and redefining our lives, even
Yeah.
since January, how we've changed and grown. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just it's really enlightening, and I really believe you'll enjoy it. And I really thank you for coming on because
Oh,
I've
you're
learned so
welcome.
much, and you've just really been good.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Exactly.
appreciate that. That's the whole thing for me to be able to impact. I want to leave people better when they come into my space, better
Yes,
than
Oh,
they
yeah. I
came.
say
You
that
know what I
all the
mean? That's my
time.
whole goal. If you got to come
Yeah.
into my space and you feel bad when
yes,
you leave, then I haven't done my job. You should feel
Yeah.
when you
Absolutely.
leave the
hmm
presence.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, we're going to give you back the rest of your evening. And
Thank
yes,
again,
you.
thank you so much and blessings. And we will talk soon.
All
yes,
right. Thank you, Jackie.
definitely.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Cassandra. Have a good night,
Thank
ladies.
you. Nice
You
All
meeting
right.
you.
too.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.